Hello there, this is James and you're watching Tixee Live. And a very good morning to all of you, and all of you a very happy Tuesday. In today's program, I want to discuss, obviously, what the market is waiting for currently at the moment, as the market is pretty steady, and the possible implications this event could cause. But before I get into all of that, don't forget, these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. I always suggest you do your own research and do your own due diligence. And of course, know the risks at hand before entering any trade. We've had out the way. Let's get started. Now, yesterday, on my broadcast yesterday, where I was discussing the week ahead, one of my regular viewers, he put in the comment section live on stream. Unfortunately, I didn't see the comments, so I couldn't reply to it. But he said, and I quite liked it, and I've stolen his idea, actually, because I thought it was brilliant. He actually said, let this destruction week begin. And of course, that all means to what is happening tomorrow. And I like it. So I've used it as a title. I quite like, I'm going to call this week Destruction Week, actually. But anyway, let's get started and to discuss why this week could be known as Destruction Week. Well, first of all, of course, as we know, the market is pretty much steady at the moment because it's waiting, obviously, for the Fed happening tomorrow. Okay. Now, surprisingly, today we had Sweden's Riksbank. Okay. Now that's their central bank, and they surprised the market and investors in general by raising interest rates by 100 basis points. Their interest rates now stands at 175. I mean, the market was anticipating them to follow the ECB and do 75, but they did 100. Now, apparently, there's only been 3 central banks who've done 100 basis points, one of them being the Bank of Canada. The Fed, who has been aggressive, has done 75. So really, if Sweden's Riksbank could be this aggressive, why can't the Fed? So really, it's all over to Powell. It's all over to Powell. And though, in general, the market has priced in 75 basis points, there is that rare chance the Fed could surprise us all and do 100 basis points. It's a slim chance, very slim. In fact, the market's only pricing in a 19% chance of the Fed doing 100 basis points, only at 19%. But it's what lead me to why I will call this, thanks to Philip, who gave up the idea yesterday in the comments, this week, Destruction Week, is because if the Fed does surprise us, does come out and surprise us, and does do 100 basis point, you could literally potentially see the market come under humongous pressure on the back of that. If we get 75, yes, which the market is pretty much expecting them to do tomorrow. If they did, we'll obviously see some volatility, but the market will not react half the way it would on 75 if the Fed was to do 100. So, like I say, that's going to be the real big build-up. And of course, we'll talk more about that tomorrow as we obviously build up to that event. But let's have a quick look at the market before we talk about a couple of other things. Now, this is the Euro SEK. And like I say, the Riksbank did surprise everybody by doing 100 basis points. And as you can see, initially, the euro spiked massively down on the back of that announcement. It has obviously since then managed to turn it around and recovered. It's currently trading now at 10,082, 22 points. So yeah, it has recovered on the back of that. Let's have a quick look at how the euro's doing. Like I say, at the moment, everything is holding steady. Euro's currently trading at 1.00091. So again, above parity. The key level for me, though, is 1.0057. It really needs to get above that for it to become bullish again, in my personal opinion. And plus, it's still under that trend line, which we put in, of course, a couple of days back as well. I want to look at the cable, but before we get into the cable, I want to talk about something else as well coming up. Okay, because obviously we have got the Fed, and that's the big one. Okay, it's the big one. But we have, and like I said yesterday, this is a very interesting week indeed, because we have another two central banks and their interest rate decisions. And that, of course, is the Bank of Japan and the Bank of England. Now, Bank of Japan, let's be honest, they're not going to do anything. I mean, I will be greatly surprised if they pull the trigger and change their loose monetary policy. But they have said they will not be changing it. They're not going to be following suit with the other central banks. So I'll be really surprised if they change that. But you never know. They could surprise us. But I'd be really surprised. And, of course, we've got the Bank of England also on the horizon. Now, the jury's out on the Bank of England, whether the Bank of England will do either a 50 or a 75. I think most likely to do a 50, because 75 would be incredibly aggressive for the Bank of England. And like I said before, I do think the Bank of England are in a rock and a hard place. They have obviously got a struggling economy and record high, well, inflation the highest it's been in 40 years, 9.9%, just under double digits. For now, we're pulled up at the moment, it's holding around the 114 handle for now. However, and I am bearish on the sterling as well, so I would be in agreement with it. But ING predicts the euro to fall back down to 1.1350. Their reason for this, okay, their beliefs in this is, like I say, I'll quote them, okay? Normally, loose fiscal policy or fiscal and tight monetary policy would be good for the pound. However, it seems that foreign investors are concerned as to how the governments will support, how government support will be financed. Don't forget, for example, okay, that basically Liz Truss has basically said she's going to generate about 130 billion to help households with this energy crisis. Okay, she's basically going to pay a good percentage into their electricity bills for the next 2 years. How she's going to afford to pay that? That is one of I'm concerned by that as well. I think it's just to please the voters. But whether or not she's going to be able to do it, this is a major thing. So as well as that, and I've said this before, I said this previously last week, if you just look at the UK data, unemployment's good, but claimant counts on the rise. UK manufacturing under 50. GDP disappointed last time, only 0.2%, and CPI inflation, like I said before, at 9.9%. So I'm very bearish on the sterling in the medium to long run as well. But like I say, ING predicts 1.1350 very, very soon in there. And that's in their opinion. Let's have a quick look at the sterling now, actually. Let's pull it up and have a look at it. There we go. Hang on a second. Where's it gone? There it is. Okay, as you can see, well under that trend line at the moment. Okay, still very much pressured, though it is trading above the 114 handle. Currently trading at 114.36. But like I say, a key area for me, resistance-wise, is around about 1.15200. But like I say, in the long run, I'm bearish on the sterling, due to the fact that it's going through, it's going to have a very tough situation at the moment as well. Let's have a quick look at gold as well. So it wouldn't be the same if we don't talk about gold. As you can see, gold is still pressured, hovering around a 2-year low, currently trading at $1,667.95. And that is a key area of interest for me. That's why I'm keeping a very close eye on this area now. Other things coming up. I mentioned it yesterday. I'm going to mention it again today. We have US building permits due at 12:30 p.m. Expectation is for it to come in at 1.110 million new permits given. The previous number was, I'll tell you what, 1.68 million, so lower than the previous reading. And of course, again, we've also got US housing starts due at 12:30 p.m. UTC. Expectation is for it to come in lower than previous number, 1.445 million. So yeah, we got, like I say, a big week ahead of us. Those are the two key things for today: US building permits and using house starts. The BOJ interest rate decision tomorrow as well. CAD CPI, UK interest rate decision, and the big one, of course, is the US interest rate decision. If they surprise the market with a 100 basis point rate hike, then indeed this could be destruction week. Indeed, destruction week. Indeed. The market as it currently stands, FTSE currently trading slightly higher at 0.63%. DAX negative in the red, negative 0.37%. And Euro Stock 50 currently trading negative in the red, negative 0.46%. Don't forget, you can ask me questions anytime you wish. I mean, do you think, indeed, the Fed may surprise us and we might indeed see destruction week this week? Or do you think that they will keep to what we all, basically what we think they're going to do 75 basic points, and the market will react, but not in such an explosive way if they did 100? I mean, like I said, that inflation reading last week was shocking. So will they do 100 basic point? Let me know what you think. Or ask me questions on any other currency pairs, for example, exotics or anything like that. Or simply say hello, if you like. Or simply say hello. Actually, there was a question someone asked, and I'll bring it back up again briefly yesterday in the comments. And he said, is gold a buy at the moment? Okay. Obviously, I can't give financial advice. Obviously, I can't give trading advice. I can only give you an overview, and then obviously you can then go on and sort of make your own trading decisions. For me at the moment, I'd say we've still got very much dollar strength against it. It is holding around that key area at the moment, 1,667. For me, for it to get majorly bullish again, and for me to be comfortable in it, the key area of resistance I would be watching at be $1,726, and then initial level of 1,694. But for me, the key area for it to be bullish again will be $1,726. And I think, like I say, with the risk of higher interest rates in the United States, it's really going to suffer the yellow metal. So I would be certainly hoping to see it clearly break through 1,726 before I was confident that, in fact, it was back to being bullish again. Okay, and any other questions at all? I mean, like I did just then, if you think of a question later, you can put it in the comment section, either on Facebook and YouTube. I will see them, and I will reply to them next time I go live on air. So don't forget, you have that option as well, like I just did then for that gentleman. Okay, if there is no questions, don't forget, like I always say, if you're watching me on Facebook and you enjoyed this little episode, by all means, give us a follow. If you're watching me on YouTube and you enjoyed this little video, subscribe if you like. Hit the notification button so you know next time when I'm going live. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, give me one of these. It's nice to know that you like what I do. Anyway, till next time, we'll be, of course, this afternoon at 2 p.m. UTC. But anyway, till next time, don't forget, these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. I always suggest you do your own research, do your due diligence, and of course, know the risks at hand before entering any trade. Till next time, every single one of you, trade safe.